My fellow tea tasters, welcome. This is Walker Tea Review. We are looking at teas. We are tasting teas together. We are the community that knows how to enjoy and appreciate teas. We have a oolong with us today that we're going to be looking at. This is, and we're going to be, well, I should start by saying we're going to be using our equipment that we have in front of us. Today we have a nice clay teapot that we're going to be using because oolongs, especially Taiwanese oolongs, often perform well in a clay teapot like this. So we're going to give this one a chance. Another aspect of the Taiwan tasting experience, especially with oolongs, as we said, is the aroma cup set, which we're going to be using. And we're going to be able to kind of get an introduction. If this is new or unique to you, you may want to think about getting a tasting aroma cup set of your own. We've got our basic equipment with us. We've got our boiling water that has been brought to a light boil, crab eyes, a lower degree of boiling, so that the bubbles start rising up, but it is not rolling. We've got our tea cup, our wine glass, in this case a stemless wine glass, allows us to kind of look at the colors, stick your nose in and smell. So that's there. Basic teaspoon, and of course our tea. So I'm going to go ahead and get this one started. This one is from Naivetea, is the company. This is their ImperialBeauty. So we're going to go ahead, get out our spoon, and we are adding a hefty, lumpy, see that one's, if you flatten that out, that might barely cover the surface of the spoon. But we're going to put that in. Well, also another guide, useful guide, is kind of shake it around, spread it around. It should cover the most of the base of your teapot, and this does not yet. So we're going to put in about a quarter, half a spoon more. Kind of shake that around, and yeah, you see a few spots of the bottom flat surface, but not that much. That's a good sign. Close that up for just a minute. Get our water in here. Start to steep these leaves. The agony of the leaf, as they call it. Get that going. Okay. Get our lid on, and there we are. Set that aside for just a moment. Give that a few moments to steep. Let's get this out of the way. And let's give a proper introduction to Naivetea's ImperialBeauty. 1.7 ounces. Retails for $39.50. Naivetea gives us the impression, the image of almost like a boutique tea company, a company that works with some of the smaller tea producers in Taiwan, those small farms that produce their unique special blend, or I should not say blend, but their special harvest, their personal harvest and processing techniques, so that you're getting what that area, that very small, limited area can offer in something that's unique, and something that has a distinct personality. So that's what we're looking at. A note to also talk about this tea is that it is an organic, okay? And because we're doing a tea tasting, a couple of things that you may want to note. You may want to start preparing to join us in a tea tasting. To do that, you want to go right up above to the future episodes page and look at the upcoming schedule. Find the teas that you want to taste, that you're interested in. Also look on that page because you will find some special offers. There are some special unique packages that I'm working with some of the tea retailers to create to help you find those teas that you enjoy, especially if you're new to teas. Other things you want to go over, secondly, to the how to taste page. There's a little information about basic equipment that you may want to have if you don't already have. Second, and again, it's minimal equipment. It's some of those things that you probably already have several of them around your house. You may want to upgrade a few. You may want to stick with very basics. Also on the How to Taste page, you're going to find information on how to record your experience, or how to get the most out of your tea tasting experience. Talking about the dry leaf, the wet leaf, and the liquor, which is what we're going to be doing today. Okay, and with that in mind, we're going to be talking about our dry leaf. We're going to be talking about our dry leaf's aroma, the shape, and the color of those leaves. Okay, so first off, I'll give these a shake too. There are a lot of oolongs have a lot of characteristic smells. One of them that I really pick up on is this kind of lotus flower / lotus pod. First you have the lotus that grows on the water. After the flower falls off, you've got the pod that was in the middle that was holding the seeds. Those lotus seeds are great to eat, and what you'll find is after that pod dries, there's a natural sweetness, a natural fragrance that's coming out of that pod. Those are the kind of characteristic smells I associate with a lot of your oolongs. So that's the aroma aspect that you have. You also get a bit of a light toasted note. So imagine if that had been, you'd stuck that lotus pod in the oven and allowed to toast for a minute. The other thing you're going to look at with your dry leaf, of course, is the shape and color. Now, as I look here, the traditional, or the common shape of a oolong is that kind of rolled, crumpled paper wad, and that's what we have here. You're getting some, like an olive drab type of green. You're getting, you are getting some kind of Islamic green, a deeper, richer, almost bluish type green. And when you look at these balls, you're also seeing a little bit of brownish stem, and that is, I'm going to predict, or is likely, because as you'll see, that the stem, along with 2 to 3 leaves attached to that stem, have been harvested together and rolled together, and that's why when you look at the wet leaf, you'll see 2 or 3 leaves connected together on that stem. Now, one of the things we're also going to note, and I have here on the table, are our tea tasting or tea making equipment, the tea infuser ball, the infuser type spoon. You load it up, you close it up, you drop it into your cup. I here at Walker Tea Review, I generally poo-poo this kind of equipment for a couple of reasons, and a oolong is a great example of why or how I don't recommend these. Because what happens is you have a dry leaf like this tender, or I should say like this oolong, that is quite compact. So you think, that's easy. I'll load these up into my infuser. I want to, depending on the size. This is quite a hefty size one. So a lot of people are using something more like this. I'm trying to load this little half spoon up in there with the dry leaf like this oolong. And what we're going to see is what happens to your wet leaf. Before we do that, we are going to look at our wet leaf, and so we're going to give this a pour to get it out. Got our nice towel here because going to catch any drips. That looks good. We're going to be using our aroma cup. So first we're going to take our tall aroma cup. We're going to pour into that, not all the way to the top. Leave about a fifth to a quarter of space, the whole of the cup empty, I should say. We're going to set that aside. I'm going to go ahead and turn that over. You notice I did that quite quickly. Also, we're going to pour the rest into our cup here so that we can look at the color a little more easily. There we are. Now, what I was saying before we get into the wet leaf, the details of that, imagine what happens when you have a spoon this size, you have filled it with dry leaf that is this size, but after you steep you get leaves that have expanded to this size. So you've got from this, that one's probably not, that's probably more than a leaf. So we'll try to compare something more leaf to leaf. Compact leaf, steeped leaf. You can see something, an infuser like this just does not allow you or allow your tea to really expand. It doesn't easily allow the water to flow through all these expanding leaves and release the maximum potential flavor and taste that you can get from this kind of experience. And that is why we avoid something like that. Now, let's talk about our wet leaf before we get too distracted here. We're going to be talking about our shapes and colors, which we've touched on a little bit already, and the aromas. Now I'm getting some of the toasted aspects as well, already kind of a roasted note. You're also getting a little bit of a kind of very slight beany note to it. You're also getting kind of, what should I say? The lotus aspect has dissipated, but you are still left with a light, sweet aroma that, again, I guess it would be more like toasted, pan-seared lotus petals. That would be the best way to describe that. Now, again, let's also kind of dig around our leaves. And as we said, let me pull out a few of these that we're going to be able to look at. That one, an example of a full-sized leaf. Oops, I just broke the... Anyway, this was connected to a small stem piece. So we'll set that aside, save that for later. Let me see if I can pull out something that has a little bit more, tell a little bit more of a story to it. Here we are. This would be an example of a stemmy piece, full of stemmy goodness. You have a leaf here. You have another small leaf here, and what looks like the remainder of a leaf and or tip bud there. So there you go. That's what's happening. You're getting a harvested piece like that. You're rolling those usually in a piece of cloth, and you're mashing and rolling so that those are balled up tightly. One of the other things that you'll note is that depending on the extent, the depth to which these leaves are rolled. Now you'll find that some are rolled very carefully. They're, it can take 18 to anywhere from 12, let's say 12 to 24, just the general range of rolling processes. The more it's rolled, in general, you'll find that one steeping will not fully unroll those leaves. This one, however, unrolled quite well in just one steeping, which gives us an indication that this one may not have been rolled, gone through as many rolling processes as some others. So that's something you may want to note. Okay, now let's get a little bit of our aroma here before we let this cool off too much. And to get your cup out, it's already got a vacuum there. You could nearly let go of the, there you go. So you can let go of that cup and it suspends there. So give it a nice twist, raise it up, quick sniff. Some toasty kind of caramel notes are coming off already. That's almost got a little bit of a sweet buttery type cream aspect as well. So that's something to note. Let's give this a little sip so we can talk about our liquor now. First thing that hits me are some of the sense of the body. This one's got a smooth medium brothy type body. Not watery, don't want watery, don't expect really creamy type notes either. So this one's got a nice medium type of broth. The aromas are coming out as well. You're getting a little bit of that warm, toasted aspect as well. And what you'll also find is that towards the back in your aftertaste, it does get a little bit of a kind of very gentle tinge of this bitter, while at the same time it's bittersweet actually. I mean, it's got the bitterness, but it also has this gentle sweetness towards the side and front of your mouth. So you're getting a little bit of the bitter in the back and sweetness on the side and front of your tongues, which gives your whole, what we're saying is that gives your tongue kind of a full experience. This one offers a variety, a lot to stop and pause and really savor. So this is something that you want to take in and try to detect all of those aspects. You're getting a nice honey looking color there. Good yellowish, kind of a yellowish brown type look there. Anything that I left out? Yeah, you're also getting these kind of, that aroma that I was pointing to. It is a little bit toasted, so it's got like I said, like a toasted lily petal type aspect to it. It's got a lily petal fragrance, lily petal, lily sweetened smell to it. So what's happening is when you're putting all these aspects together, when you taste from the cup, you are getting that kind of bitter slash sweet. You're getting a full range of tastes on your tongue. So it's giving your tongue a nice a workout, really a challenge there. You're getting aromas that are a little toasted. You're getting that kind of sweet aspect that you have to kind of, you have to pause and really take your time to savor. I wouldn't say that it's faint. I'm just saying you have to be able to kind of pull it out and appreciate it, because this is a nice smoothness, especially with the smoothness of the body of this tea. So we give this one's well-rounded, we would consider, and so we give it a 93 because it's got a fairly full bouquet of tastes and aftertaste. You're also getting an appropriate amount of body and aftertaste to it as well. So this was Naivetea's Imperial Beauty, and we looked at it here together. Hope you enjoyed our tasting. Come back and taste with us again here at Walker Tea Review.